Hey everyone, welcome back to GloomGuides. I'm so excited to share a new story with you tonight. One that'll make you think twice about moving to a quiet place. This is the story of Alex, a guy who thought he could escape his problems by moving to an old farmhouse in Idaho. But what he found there was something way scarier than anything he left behind. Let's get started with the creepy radio in my Idaho farmhouse played voices that weren't broadcast. Alex was done with the city. The noise, the traffic, the constant rush, it was too much. He worked a boring office job, staring at a computer all day, answering emails that never stopped coming. His life felt like a treadmill, always running but going nowhere. So when he saw an ad for a cheap farmhouse in Idaho, he didn't think twice. It was far from everything, no neighbors, no noise, just fields stretching out forever. To Alex, it sounded like paradise. "Okay, Alex, you got this," he said to himself as he pulled up to the farmhouse in his old pickup truck. The place was old, really old, like it hadn't been touched since the 1920s. The paint was peeling, the windows were cloudy with dirt, and the front door creaked like it was complaining about being opened. But Alex didn't care. He was ready to make this place his own, a fresh start, a new life. He dropped his duffel bag in the living room and looked around. The furniture was covered in dusty sheets, like ghosts standing still. The air smelled like old wood and something sour, but Alex figured he'd air it out. He wasn't here to complain. He was here to build something new. The first day was all about unpacking. Alex brought in boxes from the truck, set up a small bed in one of the rooms, and tried to make the kitchen usable. But the house felt heavy, like it was watching him. He laughed it off. New place, new vibes, he muttered, shaking his head. He wasn't the type to get spooked easily. That afternoon, he decided to check out the attic. The stairs were narrow and creaky, and the air got colder as he climbed. At the top, he found a mess of old boxes, cobwebs, and a big wooden trunk in the corner. Curious, he opened the trunk and found something strange inside, an old radio. Not like the little ones you see today, but a big, heavy thing with dials and knobs, the kind your great-grandpa might have listened to. "Who leaves this kind of stuff behind?" Alex said, brushing dust off the radio's wooden case. It was scratched and worn, but it looked solid, like it could still work. He figured it might be worth some money or at least be a cool decoration. So he carried it downstairs and set it on the living room table. "Let's see if you've still got it." "Old girl," he said, plugging it in. The radio hummed, and the dials lit up faintly. He turned the knobs, expecting music or maybe a talk show, but all he got was static, crackly, annoying static. He twisted the dial some more, trying different stations, but it was all the same. Just as he was about to give up, a voice came through, low and scratchy. "Alex," it said. He froze. "What the heck?" he whispered. Did that thing just say his name? He leaned closer, turning the dial again. The static came back, but then the voice spoke again, clearer this time. "Why are you here, Alex?" "Okay, nope," Alex said, stepping back. His heart was pounding. He checked the plug, thinking maybe it was picking up some weird signal, maybe a prank from a local radio station. But when he scanned every station, there was nothing but static. No music, no voices, nothing normal. "You're imagining things," he told himself. "It's just a new house, long drive, you're tired." He unplugged the radio and left it on the table. But as he walked away, he could have sworn he heard a faint whisper, even with the plug out. "We see you," it said. Alex spun around, staring at the radio. It was silent now, just a hunk of wood and metal. "Get a grip, man," he muttered, rubbing his eyes. He decided to call it a night. The house was creepy, sure, but he wasn't going to let some old junk scare him. That night, he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet, too quiet. No city sounds, no cars, just the occasional creak of the old walls settling. He tried to sleep, but his mind kept going back to the radio. Why did it say his name? Was it really his name, or was he just hearing things? He told himself it was nothing, just his brain playing tricks. But at 2 a.m. he woke up to a sound, a low, crackling hum, like static. It was coming from downstairs. He sat up, heart racing. The radio was unplugged, he was sure of it. He grabbed his phone, using it as a flashlight, and crept downstairs. The radio was on the table, just where he left it. But it was humming, the dials glowing faintly. Alex. A voice whispered through the static. Come to the attic. No way. Alex said, his voice shaking. No freaking way. He reached for the plug, double-checking it was out. It was. The radio shouldn't be working, but it was. He stood there, staring at it, his phone shaking in his hand. The voice came again, louder. Come to the attic, Alex. We're waiting. He backed away, his mind screaming at him to leave the house, to get in his truck and drive. But where would he go? It was the middle of the night, and the nearest town was miles away. Besides, this was his house now. He wasn't going to let some creepy radio scare him off against his better judgment. He grabbed his flashlight and headed for the attic. The stairs seemed even creakier now, the air colder. When he reached the top, the trunk was open again, even though he was sure he'd closed it. Inside, papers and photos were scattered, like someone had gone through them. Who's there? Alex called, his voice echoing in the empty attic. No answer, just the hum of the radio downstairs. He knelt by the trunk and picked up a photo. It showed a family, a mom, a dad, and a teenage girl standing around the radio. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide, like they were scared of something. He flipped the photo over. On the back, in shaky handwriting, was a note. The radio listens. Don't trust it. Alex's stomach dropped. He grabbed another photo, then another. They were all of the same family, always with the radio, always looking terrified. The last photo was the worst. It showed the girl alone, her hands on the radio, her face twisted in a scream. Alex, the radio called from downstairs, its voice sharp now. You're ours. He dropped the photo and ran back downstairs. The radio was still glowing, still humming, even though it wasn't plugged in. He grabbed it, ready to smash it, but stopped. What if that made it worse? What if whatever was in that radio didn't like being messed with? He set it down and backed away, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it. This isn't real, he said, trying to convince himself it's just a stupid radio. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. Something was wrong with this house, with that radio, and it knew his name. Alex tries to ignore the radio, but it turns on every night, whispering things about his day, like we saw you in the barn. He checks the house for hidden cameras or speakers, finding nothing. The voices start saying personal things, like his fear of drowning from childhood. He calls a friend, Sarah, who thinks he's stressed and suggests throwing the radio out. He tries, but it reappears on the table the next day. Alex researches online and finds the farmhouse belonged to the Harlan family, who vanished in the 1950s. Locals called the house cursed, blaming the radio. He visits the town library and meets an old librarian who warns him to leave the house. Back home, the radio plays a voice mimicking Sarah, saying, "Don't trust Alex." The house starts acting weird. Doors slam, lights flicker, and objects move. The radio plays even when smashed. Its voice is now a chorus, "Stay with us." Alex finds a diary in the attic by the Harlan daughter, Emily, describing how the radio listens to your thoughts. He starts hearing footsteps at night. The farmhouse locks itself, doors and windows won't budge. The radio's voices get angry, saying, "You can't leave." Alex tries to call for help, but his phone dies. The voices reveal secrets he never told anyone, like a lie he told his parents years ago. He feels like he's losing his mind. The diary explains the Harlans used the radio in a seance to contact a spirit, but it trapped their souls instead. The radio wants Alex's soul to free the entity inside. He tries to burn the diary, but it won't catch fire. The voices laugh, saying, "You're part of us now." The radio starts controlling the house. Lights go out, walls shake. Alex sees visions of the Harlan family, their faces pleading for help. The voices mimic his thoughts, making him doubt what's real. He tries a counter ritual from the diary, but it makes the entity stronger. Alex realizes the radio isn't broadcasting, it's reading his mind, feeding on his fear to grow. The entity isn't trapped, it's using the radio to trap souls. The Harlan's voices beg him to destroy it before it takes him. He smashes the radio again, but it reforms. Laughing, Alex sets the farmhouse on fire to destroy the radio. The voices scream as the house burns, but he escapes. In his truck, he thinks he's free, but the car radio crackles with the same voices. He drives away, terrified. Not knowing if he's safe, narrator wraps up, asking viewers if the radio was cursed or if Alex's fear made it real. Encourage comments. Have you ever heard something you can't explain? Tease the next story. The final line is Alex hearing a whisper from his car radio. We're still here.